Hey guys, I want to make a quick video because I'm really curious as to what this new compression or what the new firmware update on the Canon EOS R5 has to offer in terms of recording times onto media. So I have a 512 GB card in my R5 now, and I'm going to go through the menu so that we can see how much time we can actually, or how much footage we can record into that 512 GB card. One thing that's deceiving, of course, is that here I'm seeing 15 minutes of total record time available in 8K. That is not representative of how much storage is available in my media. And you can see here, without changing any settings, on that 512 GB card, I'm able to capture 24 minutes and 18 seconds. And that is in the highest quality of RAW when I'm capturing at 24p. That is how I normally capture RAW. And as you know, now we have the ability to do RAW Light. And when I switch over to RAW Light, you can very quickly see that on that same card, now I can fit up to 46 minutes and 53 seconds. That's really good. What that really means to me is that Canon is helping me save money. They're helping me save money by having to spend less money on media. I will say that the Canon RAW Light that I used to get out of the Canon C200, which is the only camera that I'm aware of that captures in RAW Light from Canon, was terrific. I had zero problems with it. I thought it was really great. So let's jump back into the menu here so that we can continue to see how much media we can actually store on this 512 GB card. So 46 minutes, 53 seconds. I think that is terrific for 8K with RAW Light. And let's just move through here. I'm using the Ninja 5 to capture the actual menu, which means I don't have the ability to do the whole touch menu. So that might be a little delay. Thank you for bearing with me. So if I switch over to All Eye, you can see here that now on the same 512 GB card, I'm able to capture 49 minutes and 52 seconds worth of footage onto that clip. And of course, that's in 8K All Eye. Of course, the main limitation, as we all know with the R5, is that when it reaches a specific temperature, we're now not going to be able to continue to record. We have to allow it to cool down, which means if I wanted to try to capture a super long take or use this setting on, say, a live stream, I wouldn't be able to. But who's live streaming in 8K? That's the reality of it. If I switch over to IPB, you can see here that I can now capture on that same 512 GB card 1 hour, 35 minutes, and 26 seconds. That's terrific. And the main reason why this is exciting for me, not just is it saving me money, but as I'm thinking about some of the projects where I might be able to use this camera, or when I start traveling and how this camera is going to come along with me, I now know that I can travel with less media, or I don't have to flash my cards, or I don't have to reformat my cards as often. And I think that gives me much more wiggle room with some of my productions. And if I choose to use the new IPB Lite, which is another new codec that is available now with this firmware, or with this firmware update on the R5, 3 hours and 10 minutes. That is terrific. That's 8K footage. 3 hours and 10 minutes. I'm going to tell you that I do not own one media card for any of Red cameras that I own or have owned that can capture 3 hours of 8K on that single card. That's kind of mind-blowing. I'm curious to see if changing the frame rate is going to affect my time here. So bear with me as I navigate through this menu. So if I switch over to, it doesn't appear to affect, the frame rate doesn't appear to affect the total amount of time that can be captured onto my media. That's really interesting. Yeah, that's right. It just doesn't. Really curious. So really, what they're telling me here is that my frame rate will not affect my media storage or my storage amount. That's an interesting observation. And at least now I know I don't need to, like if I choose to capture in the drop frame formats, I'm not really gaining anything on my media cards. But that might affect whether I choose to use it or not. I wonder if I go over to the more compressed or line skip version. So this is 8KU, which forces me to use drop frame. And it appears not to affect the total record time on my card. So why on earth would I ever choose the line skip version of 8K if I'm not gaining any additional record time on my media? I think the answer here for me anyway, I'm glad I'm doing this, and you guys are going through this. This is the first time I'm doing this, so I'm thinking out loud as I'm actually going through this. But I don't see a benefit or a reason ever to use the line skip version of 8K, or the lesser quality version of 8K on the R5 at all at this point. I just don't understand why I would do that if I don't gain anything on my media. If I go over to 4KD, which is the highest quality, so basically it's a 4K image that is being super sampled from the 8K full sensor readout without any line skipping or any of the other magic that happens when you downscale 8K to 4K. So this is the highest quality. 4K 24p is how I normally would shoot. But look at this IPB light, 12 hours and 44 minutes. I mean, this might actually be a sweet spot for anything having to do with social media, because you're going to get the highest quality out of the camera, except you're going to get it in a 4K package, and it's going to be compressed for you, which, in reality, who's going to notice the difference on Facebook or Instagram? Because Facebook and Instagram always manages to butcher the quality out of any camera. So IPB gives me 6 hours and 22 minutes. All-I gives me 2 hours and 18 minutes. Wow, so that's more than, All-I uses up more than half or twice as much as IPV, which is really interesting. Wow. And 4KU, if what we saw in 8KU matches this, then I don't know why or what the reasoning would be for anyone to use the U version of the codecs on this camera. And it looks like the U version of the codec doesn't gain you or give you any net gain in terms of total record time on the media, at least not enough for you to choose to use that version of the codec. Unless you absolutely need it, maybe you need 59.94p or something, which I guess in that case, it would make a difference. But this is interesting. So 38 minutes in full HD. 38 hours and 40 minutes in full HD in IPB compressed. That's more than 1 day. So 24 hours if you choose to use plain old IPB in, good old 1080 HD. And if I went all I, what am I looking at? 8 hours. So that's a full production day for me if I was capturing in HD. I haven't used HD on this camera, and if you guys want to see like quality comparisons between the 8KD 8Ku, 4KD, 4Ku, and Full HD on the R5, be sure to smash that like button and or leave a comment. Let me know that you're interested, and I will work on making a quality comparison video with all of these different capture codecs. And if I'm really ambitious, I might even do it at every available frame rate. Again, this is based on whether you all are interested or not. But I think what I want to say in closing here is that I am really happy that Canon is thinking about me, the indie filmmaker, and giving me options to save money on media, because media is one of those hidden costs, regardless of the camera system, that in many cases can equal or exceed the cost of the actual camera. So for me, this is a big one. I'm glad. This is probably my favorite part of the firmware update. Okay, if you guys are seeing the banding, this is happening only on the Ninja 5. It is not happening on the actual camera or the footage that the camera captures. So until next time, I will catch up with you guys in the comments. Take care.